We're here! Finally! Apologies for the delay, everybody, because we thought we'd make a second news episode today based on Nia Jax's shoot interview and a bunch of other stories. But it turns out that involves a lot of work, and Luke's still doing it. So Tempest is here for at least the next 10 minutes to talk about the main thing from Raw last night that this video is packaged after. Ronda Rousey's back. We knew that anyway from Saturday's Royal Rumble. And no, it still doesn't look like she wants to be there. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Tempest. Please give the WrestleTalk Podcast channel a subscribe. Get in your Ultrachats to WrestleTalk.com/support while we talk about this main event segment of the show. Were you impressed, Tempest?
I don't know if I would necessarily say that I was impressed. You know, there were definitely things that I took away from this that I thought were interesting or intriguing. And there were also things that I looked at and went, oh, I guess the next show is in Saudi Arabia. That's a downer, you know, because even if you get the last show that on paper, if you ignore the fact that, you know, they are where they are, you know, Crown Jewel was a fantastic show. So I'm told. I still haven't watched it, but I've heard it's fantastic.
It was good. It was pretty damn good.
You know, so I get a segment like this, and I mean, Lita is probably my favorite women's wrestler ever. Like, she's one of my favorite wrestlers ever. She was so cool at a time when I was like 12 and 13 and seeing this punk rocker doing moonsaults and Hurricane Ranas, and I was like, Lita, that's my favorite. So to see her come back, I was very excited to see, you know, her come back on SmackDown last month and challenge, you know, declare for the Royal Rumble, say she wanted to go to WrestleMania. For a second, I thought they might do that. And then she wasn't on the next week. And I went, oh, all right, never mind. So I'm happy to see her getting a title shot at a pay-per-view against Becky Lynch, because that is like really cool. That's a really cool big match. The fact that it's in Saudi Arabia brings it down several notches, because, I mean, they're still going to be wearing giant, big, baggy shirts and probably won't get a ton of time. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I could be. But I don't know. The whole package of that just kind of brings it down a notch for me.
You mean Lita won't have the exposed G-string pants?
You know, somehow I don't think that would go over terribly well with their very accepting culture.
The forefront of change, Tempest. That's the whole point of the Saudi Arabia deal, I thought. To smuggle in a bit of visible panty line action into the product. Oh, look who it is. It's Luke. He's joining. Is that... We might have to bump you now, Tempest.
That's fine. Boo, Saudi Arabia. Yay, Lita. I'm out.
Thank you for being here on standby for 25 minutes. But go away.
It's what I'm here for. I'm on deck at all times. Bye.
Hello.
It's Luke Owen.
Hello, everyone. I'm here now. It's okay. The bad Tempest is gone now.
I'm glad you're here because I asked Tempest a question. He talked about the wrong bit, but it was very interesting. I was going to talk about the Ronda Rousey stuff and how little she seems to care. But understandably, he wanted to talk about Lita.
You want to talk about the title of this video and what the thumbnail of this video is, but he wanted to talk about something different. Tempest, this is not your first rodeo, mate.
How are you feeling? You okay? You a bit of a stress boy today?
No, actually, I'm fine, mate. Yeah, no, it's fine. You know, just bonus news video, innit? I said we had the meeting, and I said, the script's done by 2. That'd be fine. I'm overly underestimated how much work I need to actually do. Yep, which is on me. It's on me more than anything else.
Back in the heady days of 11:15 this morning, it seemed like a good idea. Look at all this extra news that's come out since I'd recorded my video.
Do you know what, though? It was very interesting to do because, like, I don't know if you actually told people what it was. It was about the Nia Jax shoot interview she's done on Renee Paquette's Oral Sessions. Very interesting to dive into, though. And also, apparently, Shane McMahon wants to be WWE champion.
He's the best wrestler in the world. We all thought Shane coming back was, a bit of a joke thing. But no, I think in Shane's head, he really did want to be the best wrestler in the world. Unironically.
Very much so.
So the main event before the Lita stuff, because Lita came out afterwards, challenged Becky. That is not a sentence or match I thought would be getting at the end of the show when I started watching this show, but I'm excited for it. But before then, it was all built around Ronda Rousey making her first address on Raw. You know, implied that she'd pick who she's going to face at the Royal Rumble. She didn't do that, of course. Brock did. You can't have both people declare on the same show.
No, I mean, you're right, you can't. However, you did advertise that she was.
Did they advertise it? Did they just say, we'll hear from Ronda?
It was, okay. Well, this is 350 million on the side of a bus, isn't it? They never explicitly said that it was going to the NHS, but it was certainly alluded to that it was.
That is definitely a reference that will travel across to the Americans. So Ronda Rousey comes out at the end of the show and she cut a promo that was not good. And it wasn't good in the way of like it was bad or she buried anyone or like she tried to do a heel shtick. She didn't really try to do anything. She was the men's Royal Rumble match in human form.
So we talked a bit about this on the Royal Rumble post show, the stream that we did, where we reviewed the show. I'm going to turn my brightness down a little bit there, overexposed. Where she cut this promo where she essentially said, "I don't want to be here. I think you're all rubbish. I think that this is a stupid company. I'm actually not bothered that I'm back either. I'd actually much rather home being with my kid. Because the last time I was here, you fans reacted to me very well, but I also remember what happened. You know, in terms of we all started to boo her towards the end of her tenure there. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe that's the character that she's going to be doing here. She's going to be doing a character that is sort of like, I had to come back because this place was terrible without me, even though I don't actually want to be here. You need me more than I need you. So I thought, well, maybe that's the character she's going to go with, this new heel shtick. But that's not what she's doing either. She's just bored. Because like the commentators didn't make any reference to the promo that she cut. Becky didn't make any reference to the promo that she cut. And like no one is talking on screen about how like she just seems real bored by this whole situation.
I think WWE knew that. Because then, like, they were like, oh, quick, let's just get her off the screen so we can plug SmackDown. Because she gave Becky a judo toss. Becky eventually interrupted her and brought some life to this segment. How dare she? Ronda chapped her over her shoulder and then said, I'll give you an answer on Friday. Well, you know, she'll probably choose Charlotte, we all think. And then she walked off. I thought, God, that's a limp end to the show. But WWE, to their credit, I think recognized this and sent Lita out right after. So I'm not left with Ronda Rousey does not want to be here, and this is a bit awkward. It was more, Battle of the Redheads.
Yeah, I'm actually like well into the idea of Becky. I'm very sorry as well if you are watching. I don't know why I'm so overexposed on this side because I've got a sheet up that's blocking the incoming sun on my face. But I look like Two-Face at this current point, and the one half of me is Sheamus. The Lita thing was so necessary for the ending of this show because, like, as you say, it would have been a real limp ending. Because even like Ronda's judo throw that she did was unenthused. It was just, there it is. And then she just sort of blankly stared at Becky while she did it, while Becky was selling it to make sure it looked good. And then Ronda's like, I guess I've got to come back here on Friday as well. For God's sake. And she just sort of trundled off to the back and was like, oh man, now I've got to work Fridays every week, I guess.
I also thought, and I don't often care about this, but Becky looks stupid.
She really did. She looked lame in all of this because, like last time, she's here to make Ronda look good.
Not so much from how she was booked. Literally, she looks stupid.
Oh, right. You're talking about the outfit that she was wearing.
This frilly blouse that's kind of very transparent, but also with a big frilly ruff. It looked like, you know, your favorite 18th century Dutch portrait.
It was, it was a choice. But I think that's Raw's new gimmick, isn't it? The heels just make choices with their, because Bobby was backstage a few Raws back being like, hey, this Seth Rollins lad is getting over because of his attire. I think I should also do that. And then there's poor Drake Maverick a few years ago was like, guys, I was doing this years ago. Stop stealing my gimmick.
Ahead of his time. But yeah, I just thought it is relevant because you've got you've got Becky and Ronda in there for the first time since the WrestleMania match 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. A match that, it's kind of a dream match. We want to see it happen again. Many years in the making. Yet Ronda didn't look like she cared, and Becky looked like a clown. And I thought, this is not making me want to see this match. You've somehow, in a space of 5 minutes, sapped all this very intense anticipation.
And I'm putting the blame on this onto Ronda, because I think that whether she's doing this purposefully or not, she doesn't appear to be interested. And that is working against this story. Because if she goes to SmackDown and she picks Charlotte, I don't know why I'm supposed to care about that either. And apparently, so the reports are that Ronda is here for 2 Manias. She's doing this year's Mania and next year's. This year it will be against Flair, and next year it will be against Becky. So if the idea is that you're planting the seeds here for the Becky Ronda match at next year's Mania, that is not going to bloom into a lovely flower because it's an uninterested seed.
And also, so we're getting Ronda versus Charlotte. Because,
dude, it's the match that WWE wanted from day one of her coming in. Becky had the audacity to get over and get in the way of that.
So, at least in Becky versus Ronda, I am going to be entertained by Becky. But if it's Ronda versus Charlotte, that is going to be a long road to WrestleMania. That is going to be, are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, we just left the house. We're not even out of your village yet. That's how long it's going to feel.
You know how Adam Pearce opened the show by saying that we're on the road to WrestleMania, but Elimination Chamber is a roadblock. Every SmackDown is a roadblock on the way to us getting to WrestleMania with this Ronda Charlotte. Hey, do you know what? It may get good. Maybe babyface Charlotte Flair will be awesome.
It'll finally happen. Well, finally. No. Ashley. It's not Becky Lynch. It's Rebecca.
Right. Oh, did that make you interested? That she called her Rebecca?
I feel like Ronda is still stuck in that wrestling's fake, by the way, guys. You're all nerds because you didn't cheer me because I wanted to be a superhero. I think she's still stuck on that high horse.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, it feels very spiteful.
But it's all
not in a fun heel heat way.
Yeah, exactly. And because I think she does it as well because Becky calls her Ronnie. So this is almost like, oh, if you're not going to call me by my real name, I'll call you by not your real name, even though it is her real name. Like it doesn't work on several levels.
But at least we got Lita out of it. I am genuinely excited to see Becky versus Lita, no matter where it takes place. Let's see what you all think on the Ultrachats. Edward Burke says, Ronda is boring. On her first run, she expected to be worshipped and the fans didn't give her what she wanted, so now she doesn't care. Also, she's a TERF, so she can get in the sea. A little bit of political discourse coming in at the end there. The Guilty Hat, I don't so much think that Ronda didn't care about the promo. I think it's more that she's not just good at them. We said this repeatedly during her first run, that she needed a mouthpiece to cover where she's weakest. It seems that hasn't changed.
I don't know, I to be honest, it's been so long ago I forgot any Ronda promo, but I felt like even in Ronda's first run, it looked like she cared. Even if her promos were bad, she at least cared. This was bad and she looked like she didn't want to be doing it.
I agree with the Guilty Hat though. She needs a manager. And then she gets like 1 word, 2 words, I'm the bad bitch, some mic drop. That's all she needs to do.
I'm the bad bitch.
The Decadane. Ronda seems to be a heel based on her remarks of not falling for crowd reactions since their turn against her at the end of her first run. However, she's already appearing apathetic, and it's hard to invest in someone who doesn't want to be there.
Vince will tell you that it's grand, though.
The bad one, Jam Beard. I'm actually kind of happy that Ronda won. It's Brock winning that was more annoying to me. Also, Ollie, instead of going to a new rating system, you could have just always rated both shows on the same standard. That's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
The rating system wasn't big enough for the gap between Raw and AEW.
I did say that people wouldn't be on board with this new one either.
They're trolling me. I'm going to cut a freaking apathetic promo. Eric August. Last night was my first WWE live event since 2010, and I gotta say, I damn sure got my money's worth. I hope to see more of just about everything WWE was doing last night, and I want to see so much less of everything Rousey was doing last night. So lame.
Good to hear.
2010. 2010's a rough old year to go to a WWE live event.
In your Nexus t-shirt. Or maybe this will be the week that they get taken seriously.
Jack Nichols. Ronda sees WWE the same way I do. To paraphrase her mate on SmackDown, they give of Steven Spielberg vibes when everybody knows they're you. How do you say this guy's name?
UA Ball.
UA Ball. Lita versus Becky should be fun though. What's your favorite Sylvain Grenier match? Stay safe, stay peng.
Man, you could tell the UN watching when Sylvain Grenier was one of the top stars as La Resistance. I say top stars.
Oh, I know La Resistance.
Yeah. The one he had with Rob Conway as a tag team.
Great. And I do know who Uwe Boll is. I just don't think I've ever said his first name out loud.
I don't think many people have. It's like when people... Go on.
Oh, he had a boxing match with a critic who called him out.
He did, yeah. I was about to say, UA Boll's a lot like people never read out the name Tommy Wiseau. And so I was like, never actually sure how I'm supposed to say this.
Plasma PT. Morning, Luke and Ollie. I honestly thought Raw was good last night because of how much I enjoyed myself. I don't know why, but I want to see Ronda versus Shayna over any other match Ronda could have. Well, she might care.
Well, also, hey, she might just form a tag team on SmackDown because, you know, they're busy mates. They're on the same show now. Well, so WWE.com have listed Ronda Rousey for all future upcoming episodes of SmackDown. So I think it's quite clear that she's going to be picking Charlotte Flair there. Good way to spoil it, lads. So, I mean, maybe they can win the tag belts and sort of defend them at through SummerSlam or something.
Don't mind that at all. Put Sasha Banks with Charlotte, you know, uneasy bedfellows, but it is the MMA. It's the two horsewomen versus the two horsewomen because together that's four horsewomen. That's what we wanted, right?
Sort of it.
Mr. Kajili. Hey guys, now we see why I don't want her back because she doesn't respect our world and why she needs Alexa to carry their feud in 2018 because otherwise Ronda would have been done quicker than she was. Fans have long memories and don't forgive the F fighting thing. Jam that jam.
I would say that every single part, and I would also say of her 2018 run, I don't think people are going to say that the Alexa Bliss feud is the one that everyone remembers.
I can't literally forgot that happened until you said it, Mr. Kajili. But yeah, I think Ronda has carried that bad attitude. What's the name of their entrance music?
Bad Reputation.
Yeah, she's carried that bad reputation into this run. Maybe it's a work. Brian Wilkowski. Can't wait to see Ronda and Charlotte have a feud based on who can no-sell each other's moves and promos. Shoot comments, going off script, laughing after taking finishes. The unprofessionals implode at the most stupendous 2-day WrestleMania. Very clever,
amazing.
Brian.
I love that.
Getting your Ultra Chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5 USD by the end of the show. So this episode, other than the Rousey thing, I thought was banging.
Yeah, pretty good episode. This you get this after the Rumble, don't you? So the reinvigoration of Raw because we are on the road to WrestleMania. So now WWE are trying to take things seriously because people are watching.
And you know, I'd say this was a solid 72%. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sticking with my 3 out of 5 thing because mine was never flawed.
I think back in the old days of ratings, I would have given this a high 4.
Wow, a high 4. So
yeah, I think it was a pretty decent show.
But so your criteria usually for like this sort of thing was like, you had to have 3 epic things happen on a show. So what were your 3 epic things that happened on this show?
Lesnar and Lashley, that opening segment. Like I was genuinely caught off guard by first Lesnar appearing and then saying he's going to be in the chamber. I think the overall quality of the qualifying matches and storylines that fed into them were above average. So overall, I'd put that at a 4 out of 5. But yeah, it was missing that extra one for a 5 out of 5.
I enjoyed the show. I thought it was a very solid 3 out of 5. I thought this was a very, very good episode of Raw.
72%. So it opened with Adam Pearce opening the show, and he just does his old. He recapped everything we'd just literally seen in the video package that the announcers had already told us. He did it again, and he said, right off the bat, the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia is going to be for Bobby Lashley's newly won WWE Championship. So I was like, boom, right off the bat. That's a cool announcement. Lashley comes out. He trash talks Brock, having beaten Brock. And then the big shocker, Brock comes out. Brock says, hey, you wouldn't have beaten me if it wasn't for Heyman and Reigns. I want it right now. And Brock was this awesome babyface. Looks like they're going to go at it right there. I thought they might for a second. Bobby walked away and Brock said, the chamber, I want in. So freaking Lesnar and Lashley are in the chamber.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they've been building to this Royal Rumble match 2 days after it happened. Wouldn't this have been a much better go home angle? I'm being facetious. This was a very good segment. I'm just making a little laugh, teasing. So yeah, this was very, very good. Brock was awesome. I thought Bobby's selling of Brock's don't give an F attitude was really, really great. He wanted this fight. MVP telling him not to. They clearly did a lot of swears because there was so much dipping of the audio and things like that. There is just sort of there's the question marks hanging over as to why Brock Lesnar just got added into the chamber match, whereas other people had to qualify. But
because he was screwed. He was screwed out of the win.
Yeah, but he's also won the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that as well. But he's using. Oh, he did also. Brock also confirmed he's facing Roman at WrestleMania. He's entered into the chamber because he wants to win the title, make it title versus title at WrestleMania.
Well, of course he's picked Roman because he was handed a WWE title shot. So he's not going to pick Bobby for Mania now, is he?
That only came afterwards. I think this makes sense.
I slightly disagree.
Adam Pearce used his discretion. He said, yes, you're right. Bobby didn't properly beat you. I will add you immediately as the first competitor.
With 4 other guys. Which makes it a fair fight, I guess. Look,
it's not fair on Bobby either. He's got to defend it against 5 people.
Honestly, Ollie, I don't care. It doesn't make any sense, but it's not like Brock's going to have a 5-minute match on Raw to qualify in. Just announce him for it. It's fine.
He is going to be out first. Iron Man performance, Brock. It's going to be Brock in number 1.
Number 1.
Well, I thought it was really good. And, the key thing to this is, did it make you want to see a match? Yes, very much so. And that was before the 4 remaining guys were announced. After that, Rhea Ripley and Nikki, almost a superhero, concluded their year-long story.
Not quite year-long, because there's only when did Nikki win the belt? It was just after Money in the Bank. So June, I suppose you could say that's sort of when it started.
7 months then. And they split up. That's been a month long. And this seems to be the final blow off, but there was not really a blood feud vibe. And Rhea beat her clean with a riptide.
And that is because part of the builds for this was Nikki ASH eliminating Mighty Molly from the Royal Rumble and not Rhea Ripley. Yeah, but it was fine. Like it was really weird though, because Corey Graves had this line where he was like, "Man, Nikki she was cosplaying as a superhero. She's forgotten how good she is in the ring." It's like, Corey, she was the champion. She was the champion. She beat Charlotte Flair. Like, she wasn't rubbish. So there's like, some inconsistencies there. Decent match for the time that it was given. Rhea won.
Didn't really get over. I thought the crowd were quite quiet. Then we started off the scooter race. I forgot this was happening with all the excitement of the Rumble, but this is the second
Rumble.
Yeah. Yeah, sure he was. This was the second part of the 3-leg academic bowl or whatever it is, academic challenge. And it's Riddle and Chad Gable. They've got to have a scooter race. It's a 50-lap scooter race around the entire arena. And Chad Gable has got one of his Olympic buddies to give him Ned Flanders' skiing suit. And yeah, they have a race for the first hour of the show.
Do you want to hear my nitpicky complaints about this? Because overall, I thought this was excellent. Like I thought the conclusion of it in particular was excellent, and I really enjoyed the match that Riddle and Otis had. I thought that was a hell of a lot of fun, and also like Chad Gable getting to do his goofy Chad shush, it's like stuff is always excellent. But this is, it's evidence of WWE's terrible way of they script segments and present them. This segment opened with Kevin the Crab Patrick saying, "Matt Riddle, can you explain the rules of this scooter race?" Matt Riddle then does some comedy, and it cuts back to Kevin Kilpatrick, who explained the rules of the race. I'm like, well, if you're explaining, why did you ask Matt to do it? And then, I was really looking forward to this being sort of like a show-long thing, but the sort of pacing of it, in 3 segments' time, it was halfway done. And I'm like, we haven't seen any of this, and they're halfway done already. And all the backstage segments they did, there was never any indication of like who was leading, who was behind, who had the advantage. It was just, I don't think they played up the comedy enough of what should have been in this.
Especially with the Olympics starting this Friday. You could have done a proper, aerial shot of them going around the, you could have gone properly silly. But it was a bit of a lazy execution of that concept. The only backstage bits we had, of course, there was some 24/7 title shenanigans, but it was really just Dana and Tamina brawling. Chad and Riddle didn't interact. And then Riddle got sort of stopped by a Moss at one point and then went round him. That's it.
Well, he got some water off of the Street Profits, who then wouldn't give Chad Gable any water, the bastards.
What was more interesting for me here is I thought the purpose of this was to see Otis and Randy Orton on scooters.
Yeah.
And Orton wasn't on this show at all, which is, he does that every now and again. He'll just be missing for a while. I've always assumed it was part of his contract. Like, I don't want to work all the time. Give me more holiday, which is, all the power to him. But it was just, I feel like it does hang Riddle a bit high and dry sometimes because this segment doesn't work without Orton there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And that's exactly, you are right. I think that's the report thing, that his contract says that he's only working X number of dates per year, which means he just has to miss some episodes of TV. And then Matt Riddle has to do all of their heavy lifting in the feud. And that often makes him look a little bit weak, I guess. But yeah, do you know what? Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed all of this, really.
Do you think everything's okay with Orton? Like his hometown at the Rumble, he was there for about 4 minutes and then chucked out.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
not here tonight.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, what else is he going to do? Like he's like, actually, apparently, according to PW Insider, win the Royal Rumble. Because if it wasn't going to be Matt Riddle, it's going to be Randy Orton, apparently. Who both had very strong single storylines going into that Rumble match.
I can't believe Riddle, Randy Orton, Shane McMahon, and Seth Rollins were all going to win the Rumble. It's crazy what we could have had. Yeah. Alexa Bliss is in her psychiatrist thing again. The doctor showed her a replica doll that you can get from WWEshop.com. It was so bad, it was actually quite funny. And then she just looked at it, and that was it. We had the other half later on where she hugged it more, but it's like this is a real bitty way to drag out these segments until Mania, apparently.
And yeah, like also they don't have endings for them because they just fade out of them. Like they had a recap of the segment last week, and they basically played the entire segment from last week because it was barely a segment last week. They faded out halfway through this one, and then you get to the one later on. But they did two of them on this show and faded out of that one again. So like they don't know how to finish them, so they just sort of stop them halfway through, which makes them a bit rubbish.
They've filmed a lot of stuff, I imagine, in advance. Like they've filmed all the footage, and I feel like they only filmed 4 weeks worth of footage, but they're like, oh, let's run these for 4 months instead.
We're not bringing it back at the Rumble, so gotta stretch this out to Mania now.
Miz took on Dominic Mysterio next. This was one of those soft resets of a character. You know, Miz was feuding with Edge. He had Maurice by his side. Now he's like the Miz from 2015, mid-card champion. You know, that's what he is. It's amazing. No matter what the Miz does, he returns to his natural state of annoying mid-carder.
Exactly. Well, you know, it's a great place for him. It's much better than him being WWE champion.
I'm not even saying it as a criticism. I think that, you know, that's his level. It's nice that they put him back there. He beat Dominic Mysterio, but he was more focused on taunting Rey on the outside. He did a really fun fake trip spot as if Rey had tripped him, but he hadn't, and the referee ejected Rey. I presume this means we're getting Miz versus Rey.
Or it's going to be Miz and Maurice versus Rey and his wife, Dom.
But Rey's got is it Angela?
Yeah, it's good. Maybe could this be the return of Aaliyah Mysterio? Maybe now's the time to bring her back.
What, you mean Rey, Aaliyah, and Dom? But Miz has only got Miz, Maurice. Could it be Miz Dad? For the Mania?
I thought you were talking about one of their kids. Actually, I mean, I was just thinking then, wouldn't it be really, what a fun gimmick it could be is if you just brought up one of the NXT 2.0 people and pretended, like Miz and Maurice just pretended that was their daughter. And everyone was like, well, we know she was only born 3 years ago. And they were like, she grew up so fast. And now she's an amazing wrestler.
That would work. They would adopt one, I think. Miz and Maurice could adopt someone from NXT, but it's really quite obvious to use them as a way to win matches. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's going to be Miz versus Rey Mysterio.
Lastly, I cannot wait for that match to go 3 minutes at WrestleMania.
Oh, hey, that could go on at Saudi. Kevin Owens is fantastic as always, and he showed us how fantastic he is on the microphone and then in the ring, because first we got the Kevin Owens show. He had Seth Rollins as a guest. He was brilliant there. And then it led right into a match with Austin Theory, an Elimination Chamber match qualifier, which he was also excellent in.
A credit to Austin Theory as well. Like, this is more of great work from Austin Theory, which we've been seeing since Survivor Series. Well, like for me, Theory was one of the best things in that Survivor Series match last year. And I think he's been consistently either really, really good or great on Raw in ring since then. Like, I think most of the matches he have had has been absolute bangers. And he worked awesome with Owens here. Owens was great. Obviously, Owens didn't win because Owens don't do Saudi shows. But like Austin Theory going in is a really smart move. Apparently, according to Ringside News, it was supposed to be Shane and it was changed to Austin Theory.
I mean, they're interchangeable, right? They're both Vince's sons.
Also, apparently, like, so the Shane story, if you haven't seen this, is that Shane wanted to have a WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins. Like, that's what he was pitching in the lead up to the Rumble. Seth Rollins would be in the Rumble. They would start their feud there. They would then continue it through the Chamber, and then they would have a match at WrestleMania, which is why Shane was going to be in the Chamber match. But apparently, Vince took Seth out of the Rumble match because he wanted him to sell the Roman Reigns beatdown in their post-match angle, which Rollins did not do on this show. So if I'm Shane McMahon, I'd be like, hey guys, he wasn't doing it there.
When Seth came out for the KO show, he did this. he didn't like do his usual hand waving. He was going, oh, I'm hurting. And that lasted about 30 seconds because then he walked down the ramp and by the time he was in the ring, he was totally fine again.
It's like
Seth is incredible, but this is a genuinely bad part of his approach to wrestling. It's infuriating.
A question I had for you as well is you really liked the DQ finish of the Roman Seth match because you said it's just the first part of their ongoing feud, and it looks like that feud is now just done.
Let's see, because, and I quote, when KO had this great line about how Seth maybe didn't win the Universal Championship, but he's still the Universal Champion of his heart. And Seth was like, thanks, that's really nice of you to say. That's just brilliant. But then Seth said, look, I'm not going to talk about SmackDown business on Raw. So I think it's perfectly plausible that Seth could show up on Friday and continue that story.
He's in the chamber with Rome. He's in the chamber for the title on the Raw side of things. And then Roman's got Brock at Mania.
Yeah.
My favorite part of this segment
I'm not the writer.
My favorite part of this segment was Kevin Owens saying, look, Seth, you're already in the chamber because of your amazing performance against Roman Reigns. You're already in the chamber. So, hey, do you know what you should do? You should go and tell Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville that I shouldn't have to qualify either. And if they don't do that, if they don't go to your demands, then you'll walk out of the chamber and won't compete in the match. And Rollins looks at him and was like, yeah, it's certainly an idea, but I don't think we should do it.
And then Owens is like, I'll do the same for you. And Seth's like, would you? It was really, really funny. They're fantastic together, honestly. But yeah, went into the match, which we've already discussed. The way Theory won after a really, really good match. Owens is getting back in the ring. Theory kicks the bottom rope, effectively low blows, but doesn't low blow Owens. And then he gets the win. Shocking result, sure. But yeah, Owens doesn't do Saudi shows because he has a moral code.
Yeah, good on him.
It's a shame that we won't get to see Owens interact with Rollins in the chamber.
Yeah, but we sort of got that at day one, I guess.
So after that, we got Angelo Dawkins, hometown boy, beating Dolph Ziggler. A win in a hometown.
I mean, it's Dawkins versus Ziggler, mate. I've been watching this match. I mean, you're lucky that you just decided not to watch SmackDown because, this is you saw this match every single week on SmackDown. Then the pair of them have got drafted over to Raw and are just having this same match on Raw. Feel real bad for these lads, just stuck in Groundhog Day.
You know what, tomorrow? Is it today or tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow is Wednesday. What are you asking?
Groundhog Day.
Oh, it is tomorrow. I think you're right. February 2nd, right?
Yeah, February 2nd.
Yeah.
Huh. Is it today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Today's February 1st.
February 2nd.
Yes, tomorrow.
Is it today or tomorrow? Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we got it. Yeah. It's February 1st today. So tomorrow is February 2nd.
Veer Mahan's coming to Raw talking of Groundhog Day.
I know, right?
Is this a new bit? He said in the feed I had, soon I will strike.
Yeah. I think they have updated the promo. Still means nothing because there are no plans for him. Apparently, as well, according to WrestleVotes, there are no plans for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, which is really good when you're a few weeks out, really, isn't it? It's still, which means it still could be Seth versus Shane for the WWE title. Could still happen.
Come on, fingers crossed. We got the scooter race finale, which was a photo finish. Not a photo finish, actually. They had a sort of end point just in front of the commentary desk. Chad and Riddle go down the ramp. Chad trips. Riddle comes around, but Otis just steamrolls him. The sort of bounce that Riddle gets off of Otis is incredible.
Oh, yeah. It's one of his great strengths is the selling off a big guy. And it was really, and like Chad's reaction to Otis coming out was so great. And then Chad slowly gets on his scooter and goes around, even lapping a collapsed Riddle on the floor to cross the finish line, and talks about how he got there because of the grades he got at school. Thank you. And it's, oh my God, I love this Chad Gable character.
Have you noticed, I only saw it when someone did a compilation of it, that he does this thing where he'll faint when someone does a promo against him?
No, I haven't seen
Oh my
that.
God. Okay, he didn't get to do it on this show, but if you go back and watch the last couple of weeks of segments, you know, when Riddle's like, and it will be a scooter race, you can see Chad, like it cuts back to him and he goes, he faints out of shock. He is something else. And I honestly think Riddle is the perfect foil for him. Chad's this very straight-laced, Olympian, tightly wound guy who, you know, cares so much about everything. Riddle is the total opposite. He's very loose. He's implied to be stoned a lot of the time. He doesn't really care about anything. So it's gold when you put them together.
I had a sudden thought just popped into my head there, where I was like, isn't it strange that after all these years, we're finally getting a Chad Gable push? And I was like, has he got a contract coming up? And they're trying to get him to stay.
Yeah, there was all those reports late last year of everyone trying to get him to go to AEW, wasn't there? Stay, Chad! There's plenty for you here in WWE. So I've seen a lot of people be negative about this match. They said it went too long. It was only 7 minutes. They said it was boring, repetitive. It was just Otis beating up Riddle, and then Riddle gets the win at the end. That's kind of what I loved about it.
Yeah,
I loved Riddle bumping around for Otis. I think Riddle's a fantastic babyface in peril.
But also, like,
And
you got to put Otis over as the big guy.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed this. Riddle won as well. And I'm like, excellent. Riddle in the chamber.
He could have won the Rumble.
Bianca Belair beat Carmella. Nothing to say.
She is going to be spinning her wheels until Mania comes around, right?
Spinning her braid.
She should have won the Rumble.
We got another Bliss segment, which I think it was the second half of what we got earlier. And I assume at one point in time that was meant to be transmitted in full. And they were like, hey, let's try something different. Let's needlessly cut this in two and air it at different hours. There's
a huge problem with these Alexa Bliss vignettes. And outside of the obvious that I don't think a lot of people outside of Chris Lilly care, they're going nowhere. Like, this is supposed to be Alexa Bliss's journey back to Raw, but every single week, all I'm seeing is her do effectively the same gag every week. There's no progression of the vignettes. So, like, you know, Bianca Belair's spinning her wheels until Mania. These vignettes are just spinning their wheels. This vignette may as well be Veer Mahan is coming to Raw because nothing is progressing with them.
Otis and Chad Gable are backstage. They said the final challenge, because it's now 1H, the RK Bro won in the academic side and Alpha Academy beat won in the scooter race. So we're getting a final one, which will give RK Bro a tag team title shot if they win. It's a quiz bowl.
Because Super Bowl.
Sports
teams. And I think that the sports team of the place they were in did a real good sports team over the weekend. So I think they're now number one sports team.
But isn't there sport on Sunday? Isn't sport, it's the Super Bowl sport on Sunday, right? And
yes, but I
think the day after.
Well, no, but I think the Super Bowl is not till next weekend. And then so the sports team that they were in the hometown for did all the sports there this weekend just gone. So 13th. They now got to, they've got to do the sports. Oh, is it okay? So they've got to do the sports again on the 13th, which is what they were making reference to here.
It's the go home show next Monday's Raw for the Super Bowl.
Gold.
Cool. It'll be fun. Isn't WWE Raw going to be on the Sci-Fi channel next week?
Oh, is that the week they're on Sci-Fi? Because NXT,
well,
I think,
the Olympics
is on Sci-Fi.
Start on Friday.
I think NXT's on Sci-Fi this week.
Damn. What's your favorite Winter Olympic sport?
bobsled because I saw Cool Runnings when I was a kid. I thought it was very funny. What's your favorite?
Ice skating, because I saw Blades of Glory when I was a teenager, and I thought it was very, very funny.
Sports.
AJ Styles took on Rey Mysterio in the final qualifier, and it was just, it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't crazy good with all these memorable spots. It was the equivalent of a Kaz match on Dynamite. Not last year, Kaz, but at the start of last year, where it's just like, oh my God, this is so solid. I even prefer it more than a flashy match.
Yeah, this was great. A premium live event, main event in any other time. But they came back from the ad break when Rey Mysterio was making his entrance, and Jimmy Smith goes, "Is this a premium live event, or are we watching Raw?"
So I do empathize a bit with WWE because it's not a pay-per-view anymore. It hasn't been a pay-per-view forever. So what would you call it if not a premium live event?
A network show. I don't know.
No, Luke. I put it to you. Is this a premium show? You've got to pay for it.
It is.
Is it live?
It is live.
Yes,
and it is an event.
And it's a thing that happened. Premium live event. PLE.
It makes total sense when you put it on paper, doesn't it? But I think because we all got so used to pay-per-view, and we've all just been calling them pay-per-views, even though they're not pay-per-views and haven't been for quite some time. So when they just rebranded them, they rebadged it, you fools, to be premium live event, it just really was, God, they're lame. What a lame thing to do. But it makes total sense to do it.
I just think, Nick Khan is obviously a very good creative thinker to come up with this. It doesn't sound like it's a corporate thing at all. It feels like, because we could have had something fun like Stupenda Show. Oh, you've got to tune into the Stupenda Show this Sunday.
Showpendous.
Premium live event. Showpendous. But this
premium
was
live
really,
event
really good.
It's the sort of thing you say in quarterly reports, a premium live event.
This was really good. AJ is back to being a proper sort of upper mid-carder again. I can't believe I've got to get back to that point. There was no sort of goofy heel stuff. There was no Amos stuff. This was AJ. He shook hands with Rey at the start. Feels like he's transitioning into that old babyface role again. And they just worked terrifically together, where they knew every move the other person was going to do, loads of reversals. Rey kept on getting out of the Styles clash, but in the end, crossbody off the top rope, Styles rolled through, and as he did, held on to the Styles clash, hit that and won. We've got AJ in the chamber. Fantastic.
Love that. WWE's problem they've had with Raw is they've got a lack of main event talent. Because they've got Bobby and Brock, but Brock is going over to SmackDown soon enough. And you got Seth, I guess. Seth is very much sort of filling that sort of main event position. But everyone else is just mid-card fodder. But putting them into this chamber match because they're all really good, it makes me kind of excited to see the show. So I'm like, oh, cool. Well, maybe this will be the time we can actually ascend some of these guys back into main event positions.
It's the opposite of the men's rumble. Because if you look at this, Bobby could retain, Brock could win and make it title versus title, Riddle could win and start this weird program with Randy Orton. Austin Theory won't win, but I'm excited to see how far he goes. AJ Styles could win to set up a thing with Edge maybe, and freaking Seth Rollins could win to either carry on a feud with Bobby Lashley or do something with Shane McMahon. You've got 5 of the 6 people in there have a definite case for winning.
Yeah, I'm actually really stoked for this. And I think it is, for all of the morally questionable things we can say about the Saudi deal, and boy howdy, there are a lot of them, because the Saudis pay so much money, WWE really try with them. Those 2 shows they do a year is the most effort they put into any show. So we as the fans get to benefit for that.
I actually think this is different. I think previously they would just put on glorified house shows where you'd have a few big returning stars and names, Undertaker, Triple H, etc. But it wouldn't really tie into the narrative. It wouldn't affect the Stupenda shows from month to month. But I think because they fell behind so much on Saudi dates during the pandemic, because they're obligated to do 2 shows there a year, they're now behind on that. They've got to make them up. I feel like they're just like, can we do a show here? What? Okay, we can't do that. So we'll do the February Stupenda show in Saudi Arabia. So I feel like that's what's happening.
I don't know. Like I think that I think you might be right that because they're behind on their Saudi dates, so they are doing more of them. But I also think, like, we go back to a couple of years ago when you had the Elimination Chamber, but you also had Crown Jewel, I think it was, like in the same month, which is where Fiend like lost the title to Goldberg. And so you're trying to do too much at the same time. Like I think WWE perhaps have just learned from their mistakes they've done previously, where they're trying to present, trying to do 3 shows in a row, or trying to promote 3 shows at the same time. Do you remember there's that period when like they had to do Hell in a Cell, Super Showdown, and whatever the Saudi show was all at the same time? Like now it's a much cleaner way to do it. To just like, it makes more sense to do the Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia if you're doing the Saudi shows in February than do 2 shows where one of them happens to be the Chamber match.
You're totally right, and yeah, that is for the better. And then we got the Rousey stuff, which turned into Becky versus Lita. Becky versus Lita in Saudi Arabia. Mad.
It is mad. Like I'm really in for Becky versus Lita. The report was that Lita was meant to have an AEW run. She was going to have a run against Britt Baker for the title, and she opted instead to go for WWE. And yeah, I'm really keen. Like of all the people that came back for the Rumble, there was a few of them. I'm like, I'd love to have like longer runs for these. Lita was so over in the Rumble. Like so I'm glad to see she's getting a bit more. What have you've got something to add to this?
No. I agree with everything you said, but it's like, if Lita did go to AEW, Matt and Jeff could be reunited there soon as well.
Team Extreme.
When was the last time we got a full-on Team Extreme reunion?
Probably would have been like 2001, like 2002. Yeah. Like when the Hardys then split up.
I love Jeff and Matt, but let's be honest, I've seen them reunite about 80 times. I've not seen Lita get back with them.
But do you think Lita
would love it?
I was going to say, I'm sure Lita would also be super thrilled with the idea. It worked out so well for them when they were doing stuff on screen together.
So obviously, it's a 72% show, no question. What do you think?
I would have given the show very much a high 3 out of 5. Actually, no. So I'm going to scratch that into the 4 out of 5 because the Ronda thing was only the really thing that kind of brought me down on this. There's nitpicks you can have throughout, but it's a 3-hour show. The wrestling on it was really good. Some banging matches, in fact. Building towards the Elimination Chamber. I'm really in for that. So I thought this was a very, very good show. However, our community poll, 49% thought it was a 3 out of 5 show, 2 out of 5, 19%, 1 out of 5, 15%. But as we said, I think 7% of that you can probably equate to being troll voting. But yeah, that is heavily 50% of the audience thought this was a bang average 3 out of 5 show.
I'm surprised by that. Can I just, I need to walk this through with someone. So this is what I've got. Right. So
you can make it slightly bigger so people can read it.
On my day off, I did.
There's the percentage thing. Just okay. Yeah, that is the long way of doing it. Yep.
Oh, can I need to see that again? Oh, yep. Okay. Is that better? Can you see that?
Yeah. I can read that a bit better now. Yeah.
So this is sort of when I was writing it out, and I think some of these numbers might change. But I think pretty much all of Raw last year, the bad shows, we're talking under 20%, under 30%. And this year, I don't think anything's been really bad. Like that weird one where Big E was beat clean and the tag title change and stuff like that. That's like the worst Raw this year. 2 out of 5, 40%, I think.
Okay, so what you say? So a 40% show is a 2 out of 5 show.
No. Kind of. I was just trying to find my bottom.
Right.
And that's where
sometimes we all have trouble with that.
And then the Maurice Brick episode, I put at 48.
So why was that 8% better? Was it because of the brick?
Well, you've got to think
the brick was 80. The brick was 8%.
The graduation ceremony with Alpha Academy and KO versus Priest 1, I thought was a stonker. This was the go home show. Alpha and RK Bro spelling bee. This episode, no, the first episode of the year, that was really fun. And then this episode will run. So it's quite a long gap, actually. I would say this is then you get into the AEW Dynamites.
Okay. How do you feel about it? That's what I'm curious.
I don't know how I'll feel until about 6 months in when I've got enough data, because I'll, like a really bad Raw show will happen. I'll be like, oh my God, that was like dog crap. It feels like a 32%. I'll be like, but actually that 10th of January episode was worse than it. So I'll bump the 10th of January down. It's very much on gut feeling right now until I establish what the percentages mean.
Well, do you know what? It's getting really good feedback in the comments. I'm so lost. Bruh, what? I don't get it. 100% for effort. Maths, gymnastics. I'm so lost.
Okay, yeah.
Why
if you
is
just show
Dynamite
those ones.
But not the 12th of January. You've missed the 5th of January episode. Jesus Christ.
What about... That's not the one I was trying to get. Look, what about Josh? I like all your ratings. F the haters.
I like it, says Time Marshall. I can't math. Bring back the Rawful and AEW-tastic ratings.
Yeah, this is a good point from Bacon Rasher. Oh, no, it's moved. Yeah, so you can't see the sums. There's actually a very complex formula.
If you highlight over one of them, we can see it.
No. I'm not going to do that. Yes. Well.
There we go.
Let's read out your remaining chats.
Yeah. I feel bad. I feel bad for you, Davis, in all of this, really, because your previous system made sense. WWE shows were compared against other WWE shows, and AEW shows were compared against other AEW shows. It totally makes sense. I thought you were being unfairly chastised for it.
Garage Art is correct. I have not watched all of the 5th of January Dynamite, which is why it wasn't on there. Right, so chats.
He's right. Who does need Rachel Riley when you got Ollie Davis maths? You could have just ended that with who needs Rachel Riley.
What have you got against Rachel Riley?
She's fine. She's no Carol Vorderman, that's all I'll say.
What? Why are you just shooting shots at poor Rachel Riley?
I'm sure she's grand. I've never met her.
Jesus. Pavan Sunkara. WWE should make a Hollywood movie with Charlotte and Ronda. It has gotten tired now. WWE gets what they want and we can survive their crap. It should be Becky versus Bianca, Sasha versus Bayley if she comes back at Mania.
I've seen Sasha Bayley. So Charlotte Ronda it's the match that I said this about okay, I'm about to say something which does sort of also go against my own argument here. I did a video on this channel a few years ago in the lead up to the WrestleMania, the one in New Orleans, where I just said, look, let's just let the WWE, let Vince have Roman beating Brock at Mania. And then we can all just move past it. We can get on to new and better things. That spectacularly blown from Vince. My point I was going to make was let Vince just have Ronda versus Charlotte, and then we can all move on from it, because that's the match that he's wanted. So let him have it, and then we can move on.
The Guilty Hat. I may regret putting this out into the universe, but based on who's in the chamber for Raw, I kind of want to see Austin Theory win the title, and then maybe go on to Mania against Shane for both the title and Vince's love. Would be a way to push a star.
I mean, in fairness, Shane McMahon as your first WWE Championship program is like, that puts you into a main event level. Like, that is a bigger main event level than having your first feud be against Dolph Ziggler.
I would prefer that not to be for the title, but I do want that match. Colby Dennis. I don't care if Seth KO are heels or faces. They are great together. I also laughed so hard at KO putting over the stupendous WrestleMania the best way he could. Kevin. To be honest, Luke's cat making its return in the news video had a bigger pop from me than any Rumble entrance. I also popped for it, the way your little ears.
My little ears fall down because I've got weird shaped ears.
The men's Rumble match was so boring. I fell asleep and I was watching it at 5 p.m. on Sunday. I turned the feed off when Lesnar entered, couldn't be bothered.
In all fairness, David, there was only like 30 seconds left of the match.
Will Brennan, is it possible we see Styles win the Chamber and see Edge versus AJ for the WWE title at Mania? Yes, please. Also, if Seth's in the Chamber, is Roman just not going to have a match?
Oh, no, Roman will have a match. It'll be against, let's just say Mo.
Sonic Prodigy 55. Hey, you guys. Since Brock got his WWE title rematch, where's Big E's rematch? Did Beige forget? Is it because WWE didn't care about Beige's title reign? When people say Big E was champion a month ago, I say, no, he wasn't. Where's Big E's rematch? Jam that jam.
It's on SmackDown in the tag team division.
He could go and have a match with Roman.
Yeah, Survivor Series rematch. Could happen.
Yeah. Riot DR. Ladies and gentlemen, tree trunk, tree trunk, tree trunk, tree trunk, dramatic pause, stupendous frickin' tree trunk. I wish I could watch Raw without the urge to mute. Anyway, love you guys and hope all is more than decent. Jam that jam. I was confused there, but the tree trunk is a reference to Otis, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite. It's a very good skill to develop in life, which is tuning out Raw commentary.
Laxima Narasimhan B. Imagine if Shane cost Theory the match at Elimination Chamber, leading to a WrestleMania match that WWE would have the nerve to book as Austin versus McMahon too. And or Shane in their promo exchange going, I'm Vince's illegitimate son, as a callback to the angle. That's great.
That's really good. I love that, actually.
I wouldn't even be annoyed.
No, I'd actually love it. The problem is, though, because Shane thinks that he is a legitimately great wrestler, he wouldn't do comedy silliness like that.
Lucas Chapper. I'm hoping when Alexa Bliss finally makes it back to Raw, they will tell the story of normal Alexa Bliss fighting in matches while having to stay in control of the Alexa in her Fiend gimmick, or she will get herself disqualified. That's mean Damian Priest's gimmick?
That's Damian Priest's gimmick.
You don't want that, Lucas.
Yeah. Or it's going to be what my prediction was Finn Balor's gimmick, which is like Alexa Bliss is now just, we're going to take popular gimmicks that fans like, but put it onto wrestlers that we want to push.
Sean Nolan, WWE. Hey, Becky, sorry about having to put up with moody Ronda. Here's a dream match to make up for it. Genuinely delighted for Becky and really enjoyed the wait. What just happened? Look after her segment with Lita. Great stuff.
Much better. It saved the segment.
Legit underboss. Give me Shane versus Theory. Winner gets a 30-second hug from Vince as he tells you he's so proud of you.
Like that.
Vince in a shark cage. Hug on a pole match. Off-color commentary. WWE does things people want to see, but bad. People like and want to see older guys, just not at the expense of younger talent perpetually spinning their wheels. AEW proves it's not even hard to do, and yet WWE is so inept that no one likes Shane anymore.
I think that's Shane's fault more than anything.
Will Brennan. If they're building up AJ, maybe instead of an Edge match, he'll take on Bobby at Mania? Wouldn't mind that.
Wouldn't mind that at all. We've now got a bunch of chats on Ollie's new rating system. Perseus M. Don't listen to the naysayers, Ollie. The percentage rating system is great. We use it in vaccine research. If it works for COVID, it should work for wrestling.
And the pandemic has been flawless in how it's been handled.
Junior Jerem Janparab, really love Ollie's new rating system. Not sure if someone has asked before, but would you ever bring back Wrestle Sketch? Thank you guys so much for the great work. Jam that jam.
No plans to. It takes a lot of time to make. When we have brought it back in the past, not enough people have watched it, like nowhere near enough people. So unfortunately not. I think its time has passed.
Sean Dunn, hey Sean, just showing some love for WrestleTalk and the new rating system, heart emoji. Andrew Gronick says, idea. Here you go. Here's your first bit of constructive feedback. Make your rating system be WWE 1 through WWE 5 for all things WWE. Then do AEW 1 through AEW 5 for all things AEW. That way you keep them separate, but still understandable. That's the problem, Ollie, is you weren't conveying that your 4 out of 5 for Dynamite isn't the same as 4 out of 5 for Raw, even though you did say that on every podcast episode that we did.
Yeah, Andrew, that would make it clearer. That was the point of the thing, but it's done now. It's over. It's percentages, people.
JS Wooten, 72% is a C. That's only 13 points above passing. If you really like a show, Ollie, give the show a C. It's essentially giving it a 3 out of 5. The problem is you review 2 shows that are in no way compatible because one tries and the other one rarely does. DAD, WrestleTalk for life. What JS Wooten said was like 3 things that are all the same.
Plus 72. I don't know. Is that an American scoring system? Here, percentages and grades are separate wherever you are. So, for instance, I think in university British systems, 70 over 70 is the highest thing you can get. So 72 here would be really good. I'm just treating it. 0 is the absolute worst. 100 is the absolute best.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at university as well. If you get above 40, then you don't fail. So basically, you're looking to get between 40 and 70 to get sort of a passing grade. In fact, actually, I mean, I used to have an argument about this with my ex-girlfriend a lot because I used to tell her that I had 11 GCSEs, and she's like, "But you didn't, because some of those were below C." And I was like, "No. As long as you don't get a U, it's a GCSE. It's a passing grade." So my E, how many E's did I get? I got 4 B's, 1 C, 3 D's, and a U. So my 3 D's are passing grades.
Dudley Death Drop. Yeah, so that's where we're at.
Charles Berg, very sad news. One of my poor reviewed dogs, Donut, passed away yesterday. At some point last week, she ingested rat poison. Nobody noticed. Fortunately, it was too late to save her as it progressed into her blood. Love you, Donut. You are a ray of sunshine.
For Donut. Like Simham Narasimham B, let's up the stakes for Elimination Chamber, shall we? LIW win, they get Dynamite, you get NXT. You win, you get Rampage. No, I don't like that because I have to work Saturdays. They get to review all of WWE TV. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I forgot the current canon. Ollie hates AEW. Can't wait to give AEW 43%.
And the legit Underboss says, put some respect on his name. He's Lord Tempest. I don't know if you saw this. On the SmackDown podcast, someone in Scotland has bought Pete and Tempest land. So they are now lords because we have very weird loopholes in our systems here in the UK. So you can just buy yourself a lordship if you fancy it.
I think it was either this show last Tuesday or the AEW review where you told me that Tempest could become the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. And I said, I wouldn't stand for it. And a world in which Canadian Tempest, can become a lord of these great British Isles? No, I'm not standing for that either. It's a fraud. It's a loophole. It doesn't matter, Tempest. But thank you for standing in at the start of the show when we were busy.
And that is all of our Ultrachats.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. It's the road to WrestleMania. You're going to want to subscribe because we've got loads of shows coming for the next couple of months and more after that. It's never ending. NXT tomorrow, AEW on Thursday. Who might we have on Friday? Is that
this coming Friday? Fingers crossed. The Eddie Kingston interview, the delayed Eddie Kingston interview, will be this Friday. And if it's not, I'll actually have a backup show prepared, which is what I didn't do last Friday. Which is why me and Angela ended up doing a very last minute panicked stream instead. Should we just talk about the Royal Rumble? Yeah, let's do that. Off the back because someone tweeted me being like, so there's no show at all today. And I was like, but what if there was one?
So subscribe for that. And we'll see you tomorrow. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone. Hold that up while I get a video. Bye.